Hello there, Crackbook. Here I am, looking at myself in the camera yet again, reflecting on everything that's gone on in the last few days while my account has been unpublished by Facebook for reasons that we are dealing with at the moment. A massive big thank you to Amber, who has tirelessly worked behind the scenes to get my page back up. We believe it was ended, and Facebook and a few other people potentially involved in taking my page down, being that BT have taken my internet, my phone and my mobile phone off of me, and my car and my driving license is in attempt of taking off of me, and blacklisting is in the attempt of me, and I do believe they are going to try to go for another gagging order on me. As you know, if anybody here has been with me since either 2010 when I first came on Crackbook, or 2012 when I first said social services, I've got my kids, they've got my kids, what do I do? And that's all I posted, and that opened me up to a network. I created a page called Social Services, I've got my kids, they've got my kids. 575 people hit that page over the weekend, and it grew and grew and grew, and it was hard because I was a mum who had literally just fell to the back of the wall and dropped with, I'm never going to see my kids again. I'm never going to see them again. Never. What the fuck do I do? And I was just involved in a mass media campaign for Challenge Britain to invite everybody of Britain to take a look in the mirror and take the masks off and just reflect on their lives and say, is it where they want it to be, and just change from negative ways of thinking to positive ways of thinking. And if you go back to the original article, it was a training manual that I designed for people in the benefit system to give them the choices prior to going and meeting and classing as work coaches and everything like that. The training's never been implemented because I'm here. I designed it, I created it, I made it. So, and there was a few others as well. Neil was no longer with us, he died. That was Circles of Support, and it was basically a personal centered plan for people who were classed as disabled, learning difficulties, mental health, as they were not necessarily branding, we're only just talking about mental health. So hello to anybody who is here with me at 233 here in the UK, and I'm here in Great Britain. I'm in Portsmouth, which is right down at the bottom of what is the shape of the island that the map teaches us. Not necessarily if you actually got into a big thing and actually had a look, would the island, if you owned an island, would you really want it on the map? It's the same as a BT sort of book, really, is it? You choose if your telephone number's in it or not. So the world really isn't the way that we perceive it. So anyway, I'm back. My page was taken down. It wasn't me. It was taken down by Facebook. Amber has been dealing with it. I'm not going to say anything about how I feel about this at the moment because, as you know, I'm not affiliated to anybody. I'm not associated to anybody. I'm not standing with anybody. I'm a mum. I'm 41. I'm a grandmother. Your audio is a bit tunneling. It's probably because it's sat on the oven, and maybe because I'm not as close. And also, I've been absolutely like, rah, and I've bust all the inside of my voice. So if you can't hear me, let me know. I'm just going to go and check what my sound's like, and speakers up on 100. I'm on a very thank you to Tina who sponsored my laptop. It's a netbook. It's a first stage netbook, so I can work with what I've got where I am with what I've got basically. So I do what I do. But guess where I'm going tomorrow, guys? So if Amber is around, or when she gets on and she goes through these, can she please go into the email for all of the MPs and everybody here in Portsmouth, basically, that are in my box, the chief exec, blah blah blah, and let them know that both Dean and I will be attending tomorrow. To all residents of Edgbaston House, there will be a resident meeting in the community room on Wednesday, 5th of February 2020 from 11 a.m. 11:45. 11 if anybody is on that level with me. Cool. Sorry, I've been on the side in the kitchen. The purpose of this meeting will be to discuss antisocial behaviour in the block. We would like to hear your views. There will be a representative from the housing service, the police, community wardens. We look forward to meeting you. They said it wouldn't happen. It's happening. So anyway, Amber, if you could please also let the MP know, which is hello, Stephen Morgan. I'm going to tag you in a minute and say, hello, I expect to see you tomorrow. Yeah, yes, Stephen Morgan in attendance too. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Stephen. Stephen. Stephen, where are you, Stephen? You can't keep ignoring me, Stephen. Please remember that I was also with people who was outside David Cameron's in 2013, 2014, 2015. I was the one that was arrested on his election night. So, Stephen, I think you should come and see me because the police want to take my car away. So I think I'm going to park it outside your office with my permit. And you can give me as many tickets as you like. Stephen, where are you, Stephen? Shall I come to see you? Or shall Stephen put on his calendar in the morning that he needs to reschedule all his current appointments? Unless he's in London, I will let him go, but please send a representative to take notes. That would be amazing. If not, I will be doing so, and I'll bring them to your office and email them to you. I shall be your representative in attendance if you do not turn up, for the public's sake. So anyway, I want to try and line this up for a minute. So, Stephen Morgan, MP, you will be attending all of the residents, all houses of your constitution, and you will look forward to meeting the people of your constituency. I think so. Stephen. Yes, and to everybody else out there, do the same. But don't just make it, well, actually start with antisocial. That's how you get the police there. And build upon from there. Okay? Multi-agency in the room. Residents, take the room. Anyway, on that note, guys, I made a bit of a, if you haven't been catching up with what's been going on while, because I carried on while my page was down, but I was on my little Kelly Cotton normal office page. So I went to war with my page being down, of course, as I do, and I was quite live and quite lively about the fact that they interfered with Aaron's birthday. So Aaron was 11 on the 3rd of February. He was taken by Flintshire County Council by District Judge Andrew Shaw, who was once the solicitor for Paul Burrows, who was the person who took Princess Diana's diaries, of which, as people know, Princess Diana was diagnosed with borderline personality, and part of therapy is to write diaries. Princess Diana had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of diaries for her experiences as a time of being a 16-year-old, being selected to marry a 29-year-old, I do believe he was at the time. Wow, what an experience for a young, pretty girl like Princess Diana to be chosen to have to go to bed with a man she's clearly has probably no attraction to, no sexual chemistry to, no choice really, because it's an interselected committee that meet of fathers that choose. And it would have been an opportunity for her to have, of course, married a prince. Why would somebody not want to marry a prince? Well, not me, but there you go. Harry's done all right for himself, though, hasn't he? So, yeah, District Judge Andrew Shaw was the solicitor for Paul Burrows to collect the diaries, and we don't know where these diaries are anymore, do we? However, District Judge Andrew Shaw, who was once the solicitor for Paul Burrows, which was associated to Princess Diana, which also links to the fact that I lived in Northern Ireland. I was married to a soldier over in Northern Ireland from the age of 21 to 23. And the consultant out there who worked at the same hospital, Musgrove Park Hospital, where my husband was working at the time, ex-husband, was married to a journalist. The journalist happened to be the one that was gagged. This was people that I sat in the consultant room talking to, met at crossing, picking my husband up from work, chatting, stuff like that. Same consultant that helped me get into cannabis for medicinal purposes for EDS, and always went through the hospital, blah, blah, blah. As people know, in 2004, not even going to get into all this, I'll talk about it one day, but in 2004, I won a cannabis case of 27 cannabis plants cultivation that I won with an absolute in High Court. Which was done by Professor Bird and his wife, who was an expert in cannabis for medicinal purposes of many things. If people know in the papers, and I don't do anything else, never have done. Actually, that's true. I can talk about all that stuff once. When I was working with Radio 1 Big Weekend, I ended up with a bunch of coke addicts, and I'm like, no, don't do pills, don't do anything, blah, blah. I've always been anti-drugs, way anti-drugs. I was like the most craziest non-smoker prior to ever at 23, I think it was, when I gave up netball, or tried to not give up netball per se. But anyway, even when my kids were taken, it wasn't even allowed to be taken into consideration because it was a high court write off. So funny enough, that was about the only thing they could have got me on, and it was the only thing that they couldn't use because everything else was false. That was the carry. That was the fact. That's the thing about my situation with Aaron and Faith. Every piece of information to take Aaron and Faith was incorrect, even down to my daughter's date of birth. In fact, they made her 1 year older, made her like twins with her brother. Straight away, the first sentence, Kelly was sectioned under the Mental Health Act when Aaron was 7 months old, and both Aaron and Faith went to live there with paternal grandparents. Well, that's a load of bullshit, because Aaron hadn't seen his dad since he was 5 months old, apart from one meeting arranged by social services, which after that he decided he didn't want to see them. He met Faith for the first time. He saw Aaron, and that was, I think she must have been about 6 months old or something like that, and that's it. Stephen's father was in prison for sexual assault on his stepsister. That was a case that came to parent when I came into the family home, and she brought him to justice. He went to prison, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, and separated, so therefore couldn't have gone to the paternal grandparents. Second to the fact that if Aaron was 7 months old, and there was a year and 1 month in between Aaron and Faith, Aaron, who was 11 on the 3rd of February, 11 years ago, 2009, and Faith, who was then born in April. No, that's 2008. I've got to go back now, 11 years. Fuck's sake, how's it gone? So anyway, there's a year and 1 month in between them. So how, if Aaron was 7 months old, then where was Faith? Well, she was in my tummy. So if I'd been sectioned and she's in my tummy and Aaron is 7 months old, then how did Aaron and Faith go to be with their paternal grandparents? Okay, so this has never been presented. They neither agreed nor disagreed to the threshold. The barrister didn't know me. He had to get a freedom of request. He had to get a psychological report. You have 72 hours to save your kids. If a child is removed from your home, from your care, from school, from any person that you've been with, you've got 72 hours to save your kids before you're in a 26-week court process, locked down, gone, unless you come in and strike with the prosecution. You have 72 hours to save your kids. In that 72 hours, you've got to be able to tie your tongue, button your lip, sit down, shut up, do as told, protect yourself till it stands, look these people in the eyes, deal with them, negotiate. It's a negotiation. You are negotiating with children. You are negotiating terms and conditions of the return of your children back. Your children are a commodity. Your children are a product. Your children are our children are a cattle. It is a birth certificate market owned by the state. They can do what they like with your children. We the people are mere mortals. We are smut slaves. Please, 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 please don't just listen to me about state kidnap, child trafficking, children in foster homes, even adopters who are fake adopters, who are impersonating, paedophiles impersonate adopters, foster carers in order to traffic children into potentially Spain, into Nigeria, into Uganda. It goes on all cross national. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Uganda, Italy, London. It goes on all around the fucking world. Sexual contact with children has never stopped. It is something that has gone on through all of the generations, into incest, into the fact that we have a queen who came from, Hitler. So all the people that stayed alive after the war went and settled, and they're German basically, so they came and took this island instead. Do you know what I mean? They battled what they did, war, lost, so German, it goes back a long line. You'd have to do. I was fascinated by history at school, because the reason that I was fascinated by history is because they taught, but my history teacher had put the entire timeline all around the classroom. So for somebody like me who likes to sit and click her neck, it was quite an excuse to sort of say, well, actually, miss, I'm looking at your timeline, I'm reading your timeline, and I got away with it. But actually, I did read the timeline, look at the timeline, and I remember it. So even though I wasn't interested in it, I remember it because I had looked at it in my classroom for a whole year. So same as going around the doodah, the world doing times tables. I can't necessarily do times tables, but I can remember each doodah in order to sort of relay it back. So there's a pattern in everything. There's a pattern in people's methods, strategies, agendas, why people do stuff, even if people don't think about what they're doing. So they don't go to bed the night before and go, tomorrow morning I will do. Even people who just wake up and mong and doodah and maybe go out or blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. There's a pattern in everything. People start to get into patterns. Sabine, who is German, funny enough, was a pattern analyst, and she got involved in this a long time ago with Belinda Mackenzie and Rose, who's an ex-social worker, and people used to call them the Three Witches. Maggie Tuttle, rest in peace. Don't know how I feel about Maggie Tuttle. You're just a baby maker for this state, Kelly. They're gonna take your baby, Kelly. They're gonna take your baby from you. You're just a baby maker. Maybe. Anyway, when I first ever came online, the only people that were online was Ian Joseph, ran away, and my children had been taken, so I couldn't run. And I had two other children in permanent life who we'd lived settled for like 13 and something years. They'd been through like nursery, primary, infants, infants, secondary, high school, all of that. Daniel is at university. Liam is here doing an apprentice. He's 23 doing an apprentice though, so he gets apprentice salary as a 23-year-old. Not good. It's his birthday in 2 days, and he's really not happy right now. But Mummy's going to do a fundraiser. Woohoo! Hopefully. So yeah, I want to try and do something for him to straighten his life out a bit, because he's facing eviction every day. He's battling every day. Did you know apprentice at 23? It's National Apprentice Week, so I can say this. But did you know apprentice gets my son gets something like £540 a month as an apprentice at 23, and his rent's 400. It's like crazy. So as 23-year-old, should we come home and live with Mummy? But I'm in a 1-bedroom flat, and it was a nightmare with us both there. I've lost my baubles, so I won't be playing. But anyway, I'm just going to check in with some messages and see how everyone's doing, to see who's here. So I'm going to sign off in a minute. Laura Ross joined us. Hey Laura, if you're still here. Holly, oh my word, Holly, you've been here for a long time. Yes, this is worldwide. That's what they're telling us. Your audio, I did pick up your audio, so thanks for that. I don't know if it's okay now. I'm standing with good people. La la la. That's what group I tell them I'm in. Yeah, that's sort of what I do. It's what I do. The problem with not standing with people is when we took Hyde Park Gate, and there was, I think it was 5 scalers up there, it turned out that one of the dads had been accused of sexual abuse. The problem that we had was there was no evidence to say he had, and I don't know if there was evidence to say he hadn't or had. Standing with people who have been accused of something, who can't produce evidence that that's not what happened, is a really difficult situation to be in, especially if you're putting someone's children's names. I'm going to be putting a story up. Mum's going to be speaking out tomorrow. I'm going to introduce you to Hannah. Hannah was a mum that I was working with, talking with, speaking with. I know Hannah chose not to tell me that actually social services came in and took the kids. I did tell Hannah that I was happy to intervene if this situation arose. Hannah chose not to turn to me. That was Hannah's decision. But Hannah's made the decision to write a story, and I'm going to be putting it up. Or actually, Amber, if you can go through, she's just waiting for a photograph to put up. But again, it's children. I'm not here to put children up unless 100%. And also, I'm not in a situation to take gagging orders from people, battering. I don't think you'll understand how many batterings I get for cases, because I do, when I've got my phone and someone rings me, I do ring the council, I do ring the chief executive, I do ring the legal departments, I do ring the social services, I do let them know that I'm monitoring and having a look. I'm not able to give the time because I'm out of there area. However, I'm available as an advocate if they have the funding, but because the mother or father doesn't have the funding, I'm working pro bono, blah 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 blah, I give them a call to my CV, and they tend to leave the parents as soon as I give my CV. So not many people like to challenge someone like me because I'm more qualified than them. Do you know what I mean? So, and when you work pro bono, they know you believe in that case, so they tend to do what you ask for. I just give them a agreement of expectations. It gets signed and that's it. But it's a lot of money to deal with it this way. So other people can't give the time that I can give, and that's where the problem lies. So they tend to try and beat me up instead. Keep me out of it. Tell the parents she's mad, she's crazy, she is. You know, don't get involved with her. You'll lose your kids. Blah 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 blah. And then the parents sort of drop it and don't challenge it, and it's a bit of trust. And also, I just don't have the resources. Oh, hang on, my son. Dean's in there with them, so he tends to only set me. I'm going to shoot off, guys. Bye.